Friday night, 9:59, and it's my last. I've been a little bit sad today. I shed a little tear as I was driving today. I had to have a little accident or a wreck or something, because it's my last day with my lovely friend Frank. And but I'm excited to hear how his day went. Of course, I know he's had a crazy day, probably more back-breaking, carpet cleaning stuff. And here I am. I actually, this evening, my dinner appointment I had was at Bluefish, and two of us pigged out on $120 worth of sushi, and it was just to die for. And it was healthy. It wasn't rice and everything. It was just literally like nice raw salmon and the ahi tuna, and it was just, oh my gosh, to die for. And there's poor you, getting home after a hard day, pushing a carpet cleaner around another 5,500 square foot of carpet. I don't know. In fact, how have you been getting on, Frank?
I'm sorry, I missed that. What did you say?
I was saying, how have you been getting on with the carpet cleaning? How's it been going?
Oh, it really went well, and I had my helper come in today, and so we were able to get a bunch done. We still got a lot more to do tomorrow, but we're excited that we're looking to the end of this big project, and at the same time being able to work ambit in and out of our business has been fun. And as I said earlier in the week, I love the use stress, getting it in tune with what we're doing on a daily basis. It's very, very important.
Yeah, it's kind of everything, because if you don't, people just you won't do it. I mean, none of us will. If you don't plan the time. I mean, you're super busy. It's easy to fill a gap of time with eating or just taking a break or whatever. And but when you plan something like this, it's like an appointment in your calendar, and it gets it done. So that's great. And of course, everybody on the call, I'm talking to my very good friend, regional consultant Frank Schindler, and he is pretty much a superhero, pretty much a bionic man. 70 years old, and doing the carpet cleaning for a 15,000 square foot church. And you think you were busy. And he then comes down and cleans some 5,000 square foot building and stuff. So yeah, quite the hero. In fact, I think actually, whenever you see him, ask to look under his shirt in the front, and you'll see a little shirt underneath with a big old S on it. I'm just saying. Next time you see Frank, make sure he'll say, "Frank, take your shirt off for us. We want to see your undershirt." Now I've thrown you under the bus, haven't I?
You got me going today. That's too funny.
Oh, dear.
You make me sound really good. I don't know who you're talking about, actually.
It's the truth, dude. I mean, how many other people are working the sort of hours that you're working, and and half your age, and still getting all their ambit calls done? I mean, you just know that's not happening. So you're a great example to everybody. But I want to dive in on the call,
okay,
so we can get through everything. And I'm excited to hear how today went. I know, again, the most important thing for me is that we actually got the calls done. The result is not as important to me as the fact that the calls get done, because the purpose of this structure is just to make sure we get at least 2 calls done a day, preferably invites and an accountability call. We do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Some days you'll win. Some days you won't have such a good day, but you will find those 3 consultants who want to work with you if you just keep doing that. And that's all I care about. It's not that every day is a win. We just know that that's not practical. But I'm excited to hear how you got on today, Frank. How was your Friday?
It was, I don't think it was quite as productive as it has been, to be honest with you, but I did make 11 different, about 10 different calls after I got home, and it didn't take a lot of time. I got a number of voicemails, and so, but it really helped me to really, really focus down on the person. And guys, you that are listening, I want you to hear this is very important. One of the things that I overcame, this has been one of my biggest, if you're in Texas, one of my biggest obstacles is that I have been afraid to pick up that phone to call people. But with the script, it makes it so much easier because I know what I'm going to say, and I have gotten 0 negative responses all week long. So that to me is really, really super.
Yeah, and that's great. And I think there's 2 things there. First of all, the picking up of the phone. I think you're absolutely hit the nail on the head there. That if you've got a script and you know what you're going to say, the phone isn't so scary. But secondly, that when you've picked the phone up, you know what you're going to say. You're not just winging it, thinking, I'm going to invite this guy. You know, it's better to have it there scripted in front of you. Not that you're going to read a script, but you have the script there just in case you forget your lines or in case you get distracted by the other person. It just allows you to come back on track. And the structure of the invite is gentle. And as we talked on the call yesterday, what's great about the structure of the invite is it makes the likelihood of a yes a lot more likely, and the result of a no a lot less unpleasant. I mean, obviously we're disappointed with a no, but it's a lot less unpleasant because they haven't stolen any power from us, and we've got the opportunity to talk to them again in 3 to 6 months' time when the timing might be right for them. So I completely agree with you, and that's well said. I mean, I'm glad you got to say that.
Yeah. And so here's the other thing that's important. Even though you're leaving voicemails, you're in a process. Mm-hmm. And you're either going to end up getting a hold of that person at the end of the day or maybe within 3 days, or you're going to purge them come Sunday. And so, to me, that's really important. I've got some that I know for a fact I'm purging on Sunday, and others that have come on board that we're going to be doing presentations with, and some other follow-ups for later on. So it's all very productive.
Yeah, and that's interesting. We talk about the fact that, we have those 4 calls. If it's all voicemails, we have 4 calls and then we purge them. My question would be, and this is rhetorical, if we weren't going to purge them on the 4th call, how many times would you call them? How long how many, you keep calling them and calling them and calling them each time they steal a bit of power. Why would you do that? Or why would one do that? So that's the reason why the purge call was put together more than anything else. All the other benefits have just basically come to light. But the main reason for doing it was to make sure that we didn't have the same names keep coming up week after week after week. The invite and the fact that it's building people's confidence, making people more likely to make the call, has all kind of grown organically as we've been doing this call. So, but the initial purpose was exactly what you're talking about. The people who are no, we purge them. We don't kind of just have them hanging around so they can say no to us again. All those voicemails that are just sitting out there and constantly voicemails. It's great. And you start Monday with a clean plate and 10 fresh new names, 10 fresh new invites. So there you go.
Wonderful.
Again, well said. So what about your actual activity today? How did that go?
Okay. Well, so I had contacted, this is a young lady that her and her brother have the funeral home. They work there at the funeral home. She also has an outreach called the Lighthouse. So my connection with Courtney was that, and I've written a script according to that. And so this is a name that has been on this list of mine for months, and I'm so excited by the fact that I actually got the courage up to make this call, and I don't think I'd done that earlier in the week. So, but I did get a voicemail. I left my first message on the voicemail, and Courtney's a person of integrity. She will call me back. It may take a couple more calls, but that's okay. So that was Courtney. I had another couple, Lisa and Gilbert, that were at the church. I was their pastor at the other church for a while, several years ago, and the number I have was wrong, and so I've got to go through that one. Cool. I talked the other day about Gloria, and Gloria was the lady. In fact, we talked about her last night. That worked at Sears. I have left her a second message today, and so tomorrow I will give her a third call, and we will move forward on her. And so that was it. The other couple that came to our presentation here at my home last Sunday, Ernestine and Roland,
Mm-hmm.
I had followed up with her yesterday, and because I had that in my calendar to follow up with her from Sunday, and either to get my Success from Home magazine back or get a decision from them, one way or the other. And she texted me this afternoon and said no, that she would not be available until the first week because of spring break and they were spending time with their family. And so she said, I'll contact you. Well, I immediately responded back, that's fine with me, and I will get a hold of you the first part of the week. So that was another one that, it's just sort of out there. The next one was a man that I had taken to Sherlock's to a presentation back in December. And him and another friend of mine, we went to Sherlock's, and they met a lot of the ECs and a lot of people. And so I followed up with him right away back then, but he's been in a drip file for these many months. And so I called him and I said, wow, it's awfully noisy where you're at. Where are you? And he said, I'm in Las Vegas. And of course, when I approached him, I said, hey, is this a good time for a conversation? And then I said, I'm just about ready to go on another call or go on a call myself. But boy, it sure sounds noisy back there. And he said, well, I'm in Las Vegas and we're wrapping up a seminar. And I said, Tom, I want to make sure I do my job and I follow up with you. And you really are important to me, and I want to make sure that I do things right by you. And so concerning being a consultant, because she'd shared with me some real good interest on that, and I said, really, where is your interest level at this point on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you're ready to get started and 1 that you're not interested? He said, well, I'm really a 4 or 5. And so here's what I said, Richard. I said, well, it sounds to me like you're really not that interested in becoming a consultant. I actually just simply took it away from him. And I said, it would be good if maybe you'd just be my customer. And he came back and said, no, you don't understand. This is bad timing. I'm in the process of making some moves, and I'm going to be moving in May. And so I would be really interested in getting together with you then. And I said, great. Would May if I contact you May the 1st, would that be okay? And he said, absolutely. And I said, oh, by the way, let's get together for lunch this week. And so we're going to do that. Any comment on that one, Richard?
No, I think you did great. That's exactly what I would have done. Is if someone's saying that they're 4 or 5, I would take it away to make it so it's not awkward. And they'll soon, if you take it away and they can go, oh, great, I can relax. They'll soon tell you if they say, well, no, I don't mean I'm not interested at all. It means it's just not a good time for me right now. Or they'll say, yeah, no, I'm not interested, but I will become your customer. No, the sub 5 score, I will take it away. You did absolutely right. That's exactly what I would have done. And it just basically promotes the real response because people know that you can they can walk away. There's a night you've opened the door for them to walk away. And so if he genuinely is interested, and it sounds like he was interested, but the timing was wrong. That's what came out. So no, great, perfect. I couldn't have made it better.
Yeah, and Tom is a really, really outgoing, personable guy, and he's he's just one of those kind of people that always has a smile, is always looking for new friends, and he's just a super, super neat guy. And we have a good relationship. And again, as we've said before, at the end of the conversation, there was a big smile on his face. He was laughing. And I said, I look forward to seeing you next week. And he said, that's great. So,
great.
Okay.
And there'll be a timing when the timing is right.
That's right. And he may surprise me in the next few days. You never know. But this was a new one on he's sort of new. I've been after this guy for several weeks. His name is Gerald. And every time in the past, I have always left message after message after message, and he doesn't return my calls. And I see him at church, and I'm sorry, I didn't get your call back. And so now I'm going to do the process, the 4 the 4 voicemails if I get that far before I say, okay, that's it, I'm done, and we'll move on.
Exactly
that
right.
was another voicemail. Yeah. The next one is named. This is another a fellow that was in the church where I was at, and that his name is John, and we had showed him the Ambit presentation probably 3 months ago, and again it was one of those, I'm really interested kind of thing. So I'm going back around with John and for the to find out exactly where his interest level is, and if I left a voicemail with him as well. And
so now, when you actually get through to him, what bearing in mind he's seen it before, what process are you going to use to talk to him?
I'm going to use basically the same thing that I used with Tom. I'm going to ask him. I know that you're interested. I know that you were excited when I showed you the presentation, and it wasn't the right time. And so I'll probably say something to the effect that I know things have changed for us. We've gotten a promotion since we talked last, and I'm sure things have changed for you. And John had 12 surgeries on his knee, and has gone through a lot of rehab for the last 3 years, so it's been kind of rough on him. But he's getting well, and so I think things have changed, and he's another really, really super neat guy. And so, that's my approach. Can you add anything to that one?
Yeah, just make sure when you do the change, when one's talking about changes, there's 3 changes you talk about. By all means, keep it within the structure of a conversation. But, you talk about what's changed about you, what's changed about Ambit, and what's changed about him. It seems as though you just talked about 2 things in there, and you want to try and make sure you include all 3 things in there, because you don't know what's going to push his button. You don't know if it's going to be the fact that you've promoted and you're, 3/4 or a quarter of the way towards your retirement being done, and in 2 years you'll have your retirement full. That might be what turns him on. Or it might be the fact that Ambit has just moved into Japan. I had a meeting today, and I was presenting this guy, pretty high-level guy, business owner, and certainly a high baller. And he was like, interested, and probably was thinking about maybe this could be something he was doing. And then I happened to mention Japan. And that was it. He's like, you're international? Yes. Okay, I'm in. So you just never know where the button's going to be. So make sure you present all the buttons to him. So talk about yourself, talk about the company, and then talk about him. The last change is, now I know, obviously, people's lives change all the time, and the reason why I'm calling you now is sometimes the timing's right, sometimes it's wrong, and maybe the timing's right for you now, and it makes them question, it probably is a better timing now. So there's always the 3 changes that we have to cover when we talk about people who we're going back to, that we've spoken to a few months ago, or even a year or more ago. So, but other than that, that was on the money, right on the money. Did great.
Thank you. Yeah, that was good. The next one that we dealt with was Hebron, and we had scheduled a presentation at what time was it? 7:30 tonight. I'd sent him a text at 7 o'clock, as I promised. I told him I would send him a text at 7, at which time he responded and said that it's been crazy at work, and they got slammed, and so he was working late. And so he said, can we reschedule? And I said, well, absolutely. This is, and so I said, would 8:30 work? In other words, I only moved it up an hour. And he responded back. He said, could we do the weekend? And so I said, absolutely. And so I wrote him back, and I said, would Sunday evening work for you at 7, or would 8 be better? And he come back and said 7 o'clock. Well, I was glad he didn't say 8, because I had forgotten I'm going to have to be on the call with you. And But this is my dear friend that's has been in ministry with me, and sweet young fella, and the one that I was telling you about that had been born in England but moved here early on, and so I'm rather excited about that possibility of getting with him just before that call on Sunday night. So
Yeah.
That would be great. Okay.
Fantastic. Anything else going on?
Yeah, I got two more. I called my, as I told you, with my pastor friend Joseph Davis in Houston. We're scheduled for a Monday at 6:00 to do a presentation. And so my approach to him was that we're expanding into Houston, and I would love for him to take a look at this. And so I have a niece that lives on the north side of Houston, so I called my niece, and I left a voice message with her, and I haven't heard back from her. So, that's kind of where we're at with that one. And the last one was a dear friend from the past, and her name is Chezzy. She wasn't on my original list this week, but I had to keep moving down my list, and so that's what I did. And Chezzy, hadn't talked to her in probably 3 or 4 years. Called her up. Hi, this is Pastor Frank, and I wanted to touch base with you. I've only got a minute. I literally only had a minute or two, and I said, how's everything and how's the kids? And we talked for a second or two, and I said, Sandy and I've got an exciting new project that we're working on, and it's going to help us to supplement our income with some residual income. And so I really don't know if this would be something for you, but it may be some that you might know someone that it would be good for. And said, I would love for you to take a look at this. And so she said, well, that would be great. I said, what about later tonight? And she said, no, I'm actually at some friend's house for dinner, and so I'm not where my calendar is. And I said, well, okay. She said next week, in the middle, sometime next week, and I am booked up through Tuesday, so I've got to be careful. And that was one of the questions I had for you, by the way. So I said, would Wednesday work for you? Say around 7 or 8 o'clock. 7 would be 7, or would 8 work better for you? And she said, I really can't commit to that. I'm gonna have to check my calendar, and I'm not where I'm at. Where I'm at now, I don't have my calendar, and I will text you. And I said, well, let me do this. Let me get back with you. And she said, well, that would be fine. And she said, it was so nice talking to you. And I said, well, I'm looking forward to catching up on some other things when we get squared away. And so Chezzy's a really nice lady, and she's anyway. I think that's gonna come through as well. So yeah,
I love it. Fantastic. Again,
that was the last one.
I think for those who are listening, obviously you have a great relationship with her, and so the approach was very appropriate. I would have, if it had been someone I didn't know quite so well, I would have been slightly more intentional, just in some of the phrasing, but it's very subtle. But the most important thing is that you are yourself. That remember that one rule that rules them all. Which is to be yourself, and that's how you were with her, and I think that was absolutely perfect. So I think that's great, and you've got the opportunity to show the plan, so that's a score. I would be great on that, as long as you felt that you covered all 5 guidelines in the invite. As I say, you were very gentle. Perhaps we could get together. I would be more like, I think we can. I'll be free at 8 o'clock if that's going to work for you. So it's very slight. And one's slightly more intentional than the other one, but that might be a personality thing. And again, I think that also is your relationship that you have with her. So I think you're good. So, but the point is, she said yes, and she's going to take a look. So, who am I to criticize? I think you did absolutely great.
Well, I guess that's the bottom line, and I am a little more casual with people like that, but I'm also because of this week, much more succinct in what I'm saying.
Right. Hello, Frank. Frank, did I lose you? Hello, Frank. I think I lost you. Give him 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there you go. Okay. I wonder what happened there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It just blinked off. So.
All right. Okay.
Anyway,
Cool. Well, I think
we're here.
We were pretty much at the end, unless you had anything else you wanted to add.
The only thing I wanted to add, and really want to summarize as I told you several times, the week has been really phenomenal. One of the big things is Ron Stroud, who's one of our newest consultants, been with us for 5 or 6 weeks and is doing an extraordinary job. He's following the Erica plan. He's writing down his scripts. This is truly, truly duplicatable and simple. And also, we were going through a number of different scripts today, and we're going, this isn't going to work. What we're doing here absolutely works, Richard. It is so phenomenal. So, right. That's part of it. So, yeah.
Well, that's great. That's great. And again, the most important thing about this, what we're doing here, is the fact that it is duplicatable. And you have evidence right there, not only there, but also there, right there in the room with you, which is even better. For those of you at home, they have a party going on over there. He's there with Ron.
Yes, we do.
All you need to hear in the background is that. Just keep the neighbours up and stuff. Have the cops coming around and that party. Everybody around Pastor Frank's for a party. I love it. No. All right. Well, I'll let you go, and I'm very much looking forward to Sunday. If on Sunday, if you wouldn't mind, kind of totting up your score and your success, and so we can keep some kind of, we want to kind of measure what we're doing and stuff. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, that'd be great. And kind of think about, we'll obviously go through your week and we'll purge the calls and stuff, and I'm going to enjoy doing that and helping and letting people know that, you may purge 10 names or whatever, and that's okay, because they're not gone. They're just, we're going to speak to them again in 3 to 6 months, and so we're going to do all of that. And then I'm going to ask you kind of just talk to the folks on the other end of the phone about, what this week has meant, whether it's good, bad, ugly, indifferent, things, not only about your score, but not only that it works or doesn't work, but your feelings. Do you feel more confident? Do you feel more likely to do the job, or do you feel less likely? That type of thing. If you wouldn't mind talking about that type of thing on Sunday as well. And again, honesty is fine. I want it as it is, because that's the most important thing. But other than that, if you didn't have anything else to talk about tonight, I'll let you go and let you get back to your raving party that you've got there, and and say good night.
We don't have sushi here, though.
What's that, sorry? Say that one more time.
I said we don't have any sushi. It was more like potato soup.
Oh. Yeah, that sushi was awesome. It was bluefish over in Frisco. It was really, really awesome. All right, but I'll let you guys go. And good night to everybody there. Good night, Ron. Good night, Sandy. And Frank, as always, a pleasure. And I'll speak to you guys on Sunday.
Sounds good. Look forward to it. Goodbye.
All right, have a great night. Bye-bye now.